Hey, so before we get started, can we just get a little Taco Bell vibe? We got a little vibe video. Can we play that, please, and turn the volume up, if you don't mind?
Today for lunch, I'm eating the new Taco Bell
$7 Lux Craving Box. Like honestly, for $7, that is a great deal.
I love how Taco Bell allows you to like really treat yourself.
You get a Cantina chicken burrito. Cheaters don't get chicken.
Taco Bell's giant Cheez-It is finally here.
There is a big Cheez-It in this thing.
The big Cheez-It with beef made the perfect combo for this thing.
Taco Bell just dropped jalapeno ranch nacho fries on their menu.
Yeah, these are amazing.
Taco Bell has 2 new limonadas.
This is to die for.
so good. Taco Bell just came out with cheesy street chalupas.
That truly is spectacular.
Honestly, I think these street chalupas are probably one of the best things that Taco Bell has ever released.
Taco Bell is going all out for the 20th anniversary of Baja Blast.
Baja-versary continues.
Baja Blast gelato.
Wow. Taco Bell is going to drop a Baja Blast Stanley Tumbler as part of their Tuesday drop.
Taco Bell's doing an early retirement community pop-up this August in San Diego.
Tickets to Taco Bell's early retirement community sold out in under 3 minutes.
Every detail that Taco Bell put into this is absolutely incredible.
Taco Bell is so much more than a restaurant. It is a lifestyle.
That would get us in the mood, Chris.
Yeah, no, I love that sizzle. It brings back a lot of memories to my time at Taco Bell growing up as a child. So we'll talk a lot about Taco Bell, but first, we just want to get to know you a little bit.
Sure.
So some rapid fire questions here. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Cypress, California. Anybody know where Cypress is? Oh, the CYP representing.
What's on your Spotify or Apple Music playlist?
That's a really personal question. I really just started getting my oldest daughter into like Metallica. We've been listening to a lot of Metallica lately. Reese is 6. She plays flag football, so that's what we listen to before the games.
Awesome. And I know before this role you served as CMO International of Taco Bell. So I want to know, what is your favorite country to visit with or without Taco Bell?
Well, I got it with Taco Bell. Has anybody been to Madrid? Okay, I love the way our Taco Bells look in Spain. I mean, the vibe is immaculate. You can get a beer at a taco at any time. You see a lot of consumers getting beers and tacos at like 10 in the morning, which I love. We have like a tapas menu, like a sampling menu there, which is amazing. And all the stores, the assets look incredible. So that's my favorite market to visit.
Madrid. That's good to know. I've been there, love it there too. So.
Have you been to the Taco Bell in Madrid?
Have I been to the Taco Bell? I did not go to the Taco Bell in Madrid, but it is on my bucket list.
Okay.
Last one. I cannot do this without asking you, what is your favorite Taco Bell menu item?
I have 2. Can I answer?
Yeah,
2? I'm a Taco Bell purist, as most of my team knows. I love all of our innovation LTOs, but the classic crunchy taco, you can't beat it. And bean burrito, grilled, extra onions, extra sauce. Game changing.
Yeah, I'm with you on the classics. I mean, I have a special place in my heart for Taco Bell. My dad, he's a doctor, but when we were growing up, his office was right next to a Taco Bell. So we would always get excited when he would bring Taco Bell home. And my favorite is the Mexican pizza. So excited to get that.
Mexican pizza fans out there.
But I would always do a side of 3 classic tacos and a Mexi Melt, which I heard is also coming back.
You're a pro.
In
You're an absolute
select locations for testing?
No, everywhere.
Everywhere.
What is the date, Luis?
It's going to be Halloween.
Halloween.
Awesome. And my sister would always get the Taco Bell Grande, the longer taco.
I just got an email from some random person about that. No, because we didn't sell any of them when we had them.
Really?
There were some big fans out there. Sure, we could try it.
My sister got one of those.
We can make it happen.
Yeah.
The Yorro.
Nice. Fun fact before we dive into, I used to work at a Taco Bell. It was my very first job when I got my driver's
Can we give it up for Chris?
At 16. Just got my license. I was so excited to drive to my very first job. So we're in my 16th year. And but I have to say, your success at Taco Bell far outweighs mine. So I want to dive into that.
I want to talk about you more.
No, we're here to talk about you. So you double majored in psychology and marketing at Notre Dame.
Yeah, long time ago.
And so go Irish. I think it's so interesting because when I think about getting into the minds of consumers, Taco Bell, in my opinion, does it the best out of.
Oh, thank you.
And you have a diverse marketing background. Started in CPG.
Yeah.
World-class marketing organization, P&G. So, want to hear about that. Like, what was that like? What did you learn from P&G, and how did that translate into the QSR world?
I think there's a couple of proctoids. I know Luis on my team is a proctoid. We call ourselves that, so that's okay. What I would say about P&G, I mean, it is the boot camp for marketers and general managers. I always say that you're either going to come out of P&G really broken or a Navy SEAL in all things marketing. And it's a really special place because it gives you a sense of autonomy and ownership very early. I think I got my first brand, I just backed into it when I was 22. Somebody quit, and our GM called me into his office and said, Montgomery, how would you like your first P&L? I said, thank you, Mr. Boehner, really appreciate that. And I wrote in my notebook, I better look up what a P&L was. Right? But I think that's just the beauty of P&G is they're going to put you in a position to either succeed and grow or not, and it's really up to you on how you do that. But I absolutely love my time there. I think the number one thing outside of just marketing fundamentals that P&G teaches you is leadership is your actual job, right? Sure, we all need to be functional experts in all the things we do as marketers, but when you are a brand manager at P&G, your team isn't just marketers. Your team is salespeople and analytics and consumer market knowledge and supply chain and functions that you don't know anywhere near as much of everybody else's, but it teaches you on how to be a good leader, how do you bring out the best in others and not necessarily be a functional expert in those fields. So I love my time there.
That's awesome. And how did that, because it's so different, it is, but it's not.
It is
CPG and QSR, like what, how did your CPG background specifically help you at Taco Bell?
I think Brandon said it. I think it's the theme of the next couple hours together is the consumer. We used to have a saying at P&G that is consumer's boss. Our old CEO, A.G. Lafley, coined it. And I think that's what the commonality is at the end of the day, whether you're a consumer products brand or a restaurant company, you have to be obsessed with your consumer all the time. I think the biggest difference is the pace. The pace of QSR is unlike anything that I've ever imagined. And for everybody that's not in the industry, once you get a taste, you will get addicted. Your ability to make impact and move things quickly and to be an entrepreneur, I've never seen anything like it. We joke at Taco Bell a lot. We're 16, we're going to be $17 billion company this year. It literally feels like a startup. People in the hallway will have an idea and then boom, 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 you'll see something on your desk. Hey, we have this great idea. Oh, really? Where did that come from? Well, I ran into so-and-so in the hallway, we had this idea, and now we're going to change this process and do this thing. Great. So I think that's the beauty of QSR is the pace.
Okay, cool. And I want to dive more into the consumer Taco Bell's audience.
Sure.
But before that, according to QSR Magazine, Taco Bell saw Q2 same-store sales and system sales grow 5% and 7% respectively, which I think is
shout out to the Taco Bell team for that, by the way.
Far outpacing your sister companies and other QSRs, and we all know 2024 has been a very challenging economy, specifically for QSRs with inflation, consumers pulling back, and I believe a lot of this has to do with Taco Bell's innovative playbook and your team's ability to assess and overcome these challenges. So diving deeper into that, tell us more about Taco Bell's approach to innovation.
Good question. I would say the way that we think about innovation, there's two speeds for us. One I would say is more like the mechanics, where we are solving like big strategic problems on the ground in the business. Like, has anybody tried the Cantina chicken menu at Taco Bell? Oh, okay, I can hear our team. Lily, I think we can drive some more trial. So I think that's a great example of hey, 40% of all the occasions in the category are chicken. We are known and loved for our ground beef and crunchy tacos. How do we actually create a menu that is as craveable as everything else that's chicken forward? So I think that's one side of innovation is what are big gaps in the marketplace, things that consumers are asking for, and then how do we fill those gaps? So that's I would say, the mechanics. Then there's the magic. Then you just have to create things that people have never thought about or heard of that are fun, because that's what people access the category for. Nobody asked for a big Cheez-It inside of a Crunchwrap, but we made one. Nobody asked for Baja Blast Gelato, but we did, right? So I think that's how we approach innovation, is magic and mechanics.
Did people ask for the Doritos Taco Supreme?
Yes.
They did.
No. The DLT, nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for that. But that's another great thing is, it was a hot brand in culture. Doritos was a hot brand. That's our most iconic product. It was like the age of like mashups for millennials, and so the DLT was born, and it took years. That was before my time, but the team took years to get that one right.
That's interesting. So tell us more about that process of developing new menu items, because it sounds like it's listening to the consumer and the gaps out there, but also just like, how do you come up with the Cheez-It? Like, how does that stuff come to your mind?
I would describe it as controlled chaos is how I would describe our innovation process. We have a system that we follow, and then we break the system all the time at our whim when we decide that we want to. Look, the big Cheez-It, it's interesting because we also have this saying at Taco Bell is, and I think, Jesse, you were just talking about this the other day, that ideas come from anywhere, which is the beauty and the magic of, I think, our brand in this company. But the big Cheez-It was actually from our food innovation team. They were playing around in the kitchen, if I'm remembering this lore correctly, and they said, hey, you know what? If we make a Cheez-It that's like 16 times the size of a normal Cheez-It, it looks really rad. And we all just kind of sat there and looked at it like, well, what did we do with it? I don't know. Let's make a tostada out of it. Let's put it in a Crunchwrap. And I will say, very humbly, that I was not a big believer in it. I was like, I don't know. Nobody really asked for it. Should we really do it? But I think the beauty of Taco Bell is we said, okay, well, let's just put it in a store. We could sit around and opine about it, all of us together, or why don't we just go see what consumers say? So we put it in one store, and how many did we sell? Look at my team, a couple thousand in one day. So we said, okay, well, I guess we're going to do it. And so that's how that idea was born.
That's awesome. Pivoting to a little bit to AI, this would not be an advertising conference without talking about AI. But I'm just curious because I did read about Taco Bell's testing drive-through, AI-powered drive-through, which I think is super interesting because at the drive-through, they mess up quite a bit. It's just a general thing for QSRs. I don't know if you remember the Lethal Weapon 2 movie. Or was it Lethal Weapon 2? But no, I think that AI is kind of coming in to solve that problem of accuracy at the drive-thru, and I just want to know more about how you're using AI, not just for necessarily drive-thru, but to improve the overall customer experience in your products.
I think we all know this. We actually just did an AI training boot camp, so I maybe know 2% more than I did when I started, but look, I think it's just a really interesting time, and I'll just talk about the restaurant industry. I'll stay somewhat in a swim lane of how do we use it to solve business problems. And I think it's really, really early. And I think for everybody in the room, I'm sure everybody else is tackling different problems, thinking about how to apply AI. I mean, I'll share for us at Taco Bell, there's 3 things that we're using it for right now, 4 actually. One of them is the AI in the drive-thru. Accuracy is probably our biggest opportunity as a brand. And it's what consumers want. They want to customize, but they want to make sure that they get what they can order. And when you add, I wouldn't say take a human out of the equation, but when you add, I would say an assistant into that interaction with a customer, it should hopefully help us level up our accuracy. So I think that's number 1. The digital team, is there some digital folks in here somewhere? Somewhere, there we go. Look, I think we're using AI to make our CRM smarter and better. I think that's the way that we can use it. How do we automate creative and all the journeys that we sell, and insights. We're just early days starting with how do we get better, more on top of what's happening around the brand and social, and then how do we use those insights to react quicker. So we're early. Find us. If anybody else has figured it out, please let us know because we haven't figured it out.
Cool. No, that's exactly what we wanted to hear. Just talk about thinking about AI. I know it's super early, but let's pivot to the consumer audience because I would say Taco Bell has one of the most loyal fan bases that I've ever witnessed. Sean Tresvant, your CEO, talks about how Taco Bell is able to connect with consumers in authentic and irreverent ways. I love that. I think it's so unique. And I want to know more about how you think about the consumer. How do you connect with them, and how does it differ from your other QSR competitors?
Okay, so two-part question. How do we think about our consumer, and then how do we connect with them? Okay, so the way that we at Taco Bell view our consumers through two different lenses, and I think they're both equally important, and what we find oftentimes is that they really pull on each other. So I think the first way is, who's our muse? Like, who is the consumer that inspires us, and ultimately, like, who in our soul are we as a brand, and that's the cultural rebel. And we talk about the cultural rebel a lot. What do they mean? What do they look like? What do they sound like? What are their behaviors? We have 5 different behaviors that define what a cultural rebel is. So that's the first part, and we use that as our muse to kind of dictate where do we show up in culture. That's where ideas like Live Más Live and the Canteen is coming from. So that's number one. Who's our muse? Who's aspirational for us? Who in our soul do we want to be like, and who do we want to attract from a consumer standpoint? That's lens number one, that's the cultural rebel. 2 then is, we're still a mass brand. I think this trips people out. Let's do a little audience participation. And the Taco Bell team cannot answer. What percent of consumers in the US do you think come to Taco Bell at least once a year? Once a year. Shout it out.
50%.
I just pointed at somebody who didn't raise their hand. I'm sorry. that's not cool. Somebody shouted out. You were getting your water, I'm sorry. But great hat. Okay, who had a guess?
25.
25? 80?
Yeah,
41. Very precise. This is the price is right. 70%.
Wow.
70%. So in a lot of ways, while we are a rebel brand, that's who we are, cultural rebels are our muse, we're still a mass brand. Our penetration is 70%. So we also think a lot about, when we think about media and comms, how do we be really distinctive, show up like a cultural rebel, but how do we show up in a really big way that reaches a lot of consumers? So that's how we think about our who.
70%. That's awesome.
And we want it to be higher than that. It's not awesome yet. 98 would be better. That's McDonald's.
100%.
There we go, Chris. 100%.
And then, so in terms of media and connecting with your consumers, what platforms? I'm sure there are some, publishers in here that want to learn more about how they can work with Taco Bell. So, what platforms are proving effective for maintaining, but also expanding your customer base and appealing to sort of like that cultural rebel?
Yeah, I think the pulse of our brand's on social. Like where you see us spending a lot is connected channels, social channels. TikTok is a huge part of our buy. We buy a lot of paid social. Basically create a lot of our ideas and content for those channels. So that's where we're trying to play more and more and more. And we've shifted that thanks to the media team who's sitting right here. We were some first movers in the marketplace to get bigger and better there. And I would say as any brand on social, you can never be good enough. You can never be in touch enough, you can never be sharp enough, you can never be ahead enough. But we play a lot there. But to the other points, that's where we can behave like a cultural rebel in a mass way. We are the #1 advertiser in football, I believe, in QSR. Right? Okay, good. Just fact checking with the media team. So we do play a lot in big tent poles where we got a lot of eyeballs, right? Again, 70% of America comes to Taco Bell. We want to make sure that we're driving a lot of reach in those channels too. So that's where you see us a lot on the NFL, a lot on college football, and every once in a while on the Notre Dame game.
Cool. So pivoting a little bit, well, not pivoting, because I want to dive deeper into the cultural rebel theme. I feel like Taco Bell, the culture here, has actually adopted the mindset of your core audience. This notion of sort of pushing culture forward by rebelling, and as Sean puts it, your CEO, raging for what you believe in. Apart from my obsession with the Mexican pizza, that's why I personally love Taco Bell, is I really see like this strong and passionate culture. I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community, and in 2022, I really appreciated what Taco Bell did to support LGBTQ plus mental health youth with the It Gets Better project and the Drag Brunch tour. Actually, was that 2023? I think it was 23. It might have been 23.
22, I think.
22. Okay, 2022, and even in the face of backlash, Sean Tresvant really stood up for Taco Bell's core values, and that means a lot to me as a consumer. And I'll never stop eating Taco Bell.
Thank you.
So that is, I think, to me, one personal example of how Taco Bell is sort of being bold. And I want to know more about, from your perspective, Taco Bell does take a lot of risks. What are some of the most courageous initiatives that you've done as a brand?
Good question. I'm going to come back. First, thank you for sharing that story, by the way. But I think what's important for us, and Sean talks about this a lot, I think we as a team really believe this, is first and foremost, Taco Bell is a rebel brand. We are. When Glenn started the brand 61 years ago, he believed that tacos and burritos have a spot in a burger world. And I personally believe, and I think we all believe, that everybody's got a little bit of rebel in them. And I think that's what makes Taco Bell so aspirational. And what we firmly believe is our purpose is to feed curiosity for the unconventional and be that rallying cry for rebels everywhere, rebels like you, rebels around the world. So that's for us what being a cultural rebel really means and what being bold means, and it's really in the DNA of the brand. In terms of what do I think the most courageous things we've ever done are, there's a couple. Does everybody know that we free Taco Tuesday? Okay, do you guys want to know the real behind that? We had no idea what was going to happen when we did that. Zero. We had no idea. We had no idea if it was going to work. We had no idea if people were going to care about it. We had no idea if people were going to talk about it. We didn't know if we were doing something on behalf of people that sell tacos everywhere, if it was going to be helpful to them. We didn't even know if we were going to free it. And I still remember, I'm looking at Ashley on my team that helped with the campaign. I got a call from our chief legal officer, Julie Davis, who is a G, by the way, like the best. And right before she submitted filed the actual lawsuit, she said, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure?" And it was like 9:59, it was supposed to go live at like 1 a.m. It's like, well, I think, she's like, well, I just hit send, we're doing it. I said, okay. So I think that was one of the most courageous things that we've done, because I think modern brands can't just talk about it, you gotta be about it. And we can't say that we're about disrupting conventions and inspiring people to be rebellious and doing things on behalf of culture unless we actually do something about it and put our money where our mouth is. I thought that was one of the most rebellious things. Did anybody watch The Lip Boss Live?
Yes.
Yes? What did you think of it? What's your name, by the way? Shireen. What did you think about it?
Very innovative, immersive, engaging, all of it, Vegas.
Some more tea behind that one. Tim, start to finish, how long did we pull that together in?
60 days?
Yeah.
No way.
Wow. We also had no idea if anybody was going to watch it. We had no idea if anybody was cool. I didn't want to be up there, and then Ashley and Tim were like, no, you got to do it. You and Sean and Liz, you guys got to do it. We didn't know if we were going to get roasted by the internet. We didn't know. It was a huge risk. But I think we're at our best when there was some strategy behind it, though, Cherie, which is, if we believe that we're the most innovative brand in the world, again, it's about actions over words. Well, we could make a film about it and tell everybody how innovative we are. Or why don't we make Taco Bell product reveals bigger than Apple product reveals? And let's go take a risk and see.
That's cool. And the Sizzle alluded to the early retirement community.
The cantina.
It just happened last week?
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
How did you guys come up with that idea? I want to hear more about that concept.
I'm going to pick on Lily, who's sitting on the front row. I will tell everybody how that. What I loved about that idea was that idea didn't come from me. That idea didn't come from Sean. That idea didn't come from the top. It came from the team. And Lily was working with Edelman, our PR partners, and thinking through some ways that we could drive some brand heat for Gen Z around the cantinas, and how do we take an action that shows we're in touch with culture. And Lily stormed in my office with Katie 5 minutes after the meeting was over and said, I have no idea what this actually is, but I think an early retirement community called the Cantinas would be super dope. What do you think? And that was how the idea started.
That's really cool. So I actually want to hear
the plan. So shout to you, Lily.
So Lily had the idea, and you sort of empowered her to execute that idea.
Yeah, and some nudges along the way. Awesome. Is that how that went, Lily?
So that
you can tell everybody the truth.
That actually takes me to my next question. about leadership. In your April market, in April you did a Market Vanguard podcast, I think with Adweek, and you talk about how you created this culture of fearlessness. Tell us more about your leadership philosophy. Like how do you think about it, and how do you empower your team?
Good question. I try to empower my team as much as I can. They'll tell everybody the honest truth after. But look, I think for all of us as leaders, I think the first part is everyone's leadership point of view comes from their own experience. And I think that's something we don't talk about that enough, is what true leadership is authenticity. And that's what inspires people to be the most authentic versions of themselves. And my journey as a human being is I've been afraid a lot. I've had a lot of things that I've had to overcome. And so for me, throughout my life, that is kind of what my purpose is how do I inspire fearlessness in others? Because my personal journey is I have to inspire myself to be fearless every day. And what that means for my team and what I think our role as leaders is, and what I think my role as a leader is to create a culture that sparks ideas and create a culture that creates community. And what I found is when you create a culture of fearlessness, which we talk about it a lot as a team, but fearlessness isn't like those big, bold, take the hill moments. I think when we talk about that, that's what is in our minds. It's actually the small stuff. It's having humility. Not being afraid to ask for help. Not being afraid to say that you don't know something so you can get better. I think it's having the courage to be real and honest. I think that's what fearlessness looks like. And it's also to stand up for what you believe in. And so that's the culture that I try to create, with my team at Taco Bell. And what I found is when you do that, and you create a place of safety and fearlessness, but a little bit of drive and hunger too, you get magical things, like the cantina that happened.
I love that. I love that. I love your philosophy on leadership. Thank you for that. I think we have time for one more question. So what's next for Taco Bell? What are you looking forward to as we approach 2025? Can you share any secret menu items coming out soon, or what are you looking forward to?
Matt says no. What can I say?
Decades.
Okay. Thank you. Good coaching in the moment. So we found this insight. There's two insights. One, this concept of nostalgia. Gen Z is throwing back to Nirvana and all these 90s things. They never experienced it, but they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, my heyday is back. That was in your heyday, you were just born in 1998, dude. Anyway, so there's that, which is a huge Gen Z trend. And then the other trend that we found is, you talk about how much people love Taco Bell. And what we found is that everybody has a Taco Bell love story. You shared yours. Everybody has. One, I had $3 and I went to the same Taco Bell in Huntington Beach after surfing every single day. It was my place. That's how I fell in love with Taco Bell. And those stories have existed for decades, since the 60s. So at the end of this year, we're going to honor all the decades and everybody's love story. We're going to bring back a product from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And some super dope merch. You'll see it. I think it's going to hit the wire in a month or so to honor all of that and hopefully awaken everybody's Taco Bell love stories.
Wow.
Yeah? Okay, thank you.
That's exciting.
Let's see. It's going to be the veggie tostada, the green bean burrito, the Mexi Melt, the Gordita Supreme, and the caramel apple empanada.
Awesome. That's super exciting. No cinnamon Christmas though. We always get the side of the cinnamon Christmas. This is I'm dating myself, but the cinnamon Christmas.
You're a cultural rebel still.
Yeah, I'm still a cultural rebel. But thank you so much, Taylor.
Thank you, guys.
That was super exciting.
Thank you.
Really